Hello everyone, this is Team 9. Before we start, this video is what we have made ourselves about the construction process that we have looked at so far of the Hanyang Sujain River Pine apartment. As you can see, it is the process from the temporary construction process to earthworks and earth retaining work that was carried out for the construction of underground structures. So, let's get into the story of this week. What are the top priorities when constructing a building? It's safety. If a building that we live in collapses like this, it will never feel safe. The apartment that will be constructed on our site will also have big problems if it collapses like this. So, let's think about how to make our buildings stand safely together. The thing that we have to consider importantly is the foundation work that are needed to create the bottom of the structure stronger. Foundation work strengthens the ground to support high-rise apartments. As poor foundation work might cause a building to collapse or sink, it is highly dangerous, so the foundation work is very important. On that matter, this week we are going to talk about the foundation work. From now on, let's find out what kind of foundation work was used to maintain safety for each specific area of this apartment, starting with building 101 over here. The foundation construction of 101 Dong is called pile footing. The pile footing is the foundation method used when the foundation is not firm. In other words, it is used by a file inserting into the rock layer of the ground to support the structure when the strong ground is deeply located on the site and the foundation is not directly reached. So, why is the pile footing used? This is because 101 Dong have these characteristics. The strong ground is located somewhat deep, so the ground on the site is not that hard. The strong ground that is deep on this site is the soft rock layer. The soft rock layer has an allowable bearing capacity of 1000 to 2000 kN per meter square and belongs to a solid rock. Therefore, the foundation must be formed in the soft rock layer which locates deep. So the pile footing method is appropriate for the foundation of 101 Dong. In the process of constructing a pile foundation, it is important to check the pile condition at a right angle after inserting it to the ground. It is because if the angle is wrong, the pile will accept load unequally, thus threatening the safety and building's lifespan. That's the end of building 101 foundation work. Next, let's move on to the site for building 102 to 104. In this area, mat foundation type will be used. Mat foundation is a foundation that supports columns or walls continuously throughout a structure on a single foundation. Simply put, it supports the entire floor with one mat foundation. Why should mat foundation be used here? Here is the left side of our site, and weathered rock layers are mainly distributed here. One of weathered rock characteristics is the low bearing capacity, so this area is expected to support a smaller load. Fortunately, in this situation, compared with 101 Dong, the hard rock that can support the loads was not located as deep. Even if the weathering rock layer has low bearing capacity, if the area that transmits force to the ground increases, more power can be obtained. Also, if the soil ground layer that the large foundation must reach is relatively not deep, it is easy to construct a large foundation into the solid geological layer. Therefore, we used mat foundation for this part because this type is suitable for areas with low bearing capacity, and because of the nature of the ground itself, which is the location for the hard soil layer, is not too deep underground. Now, The foundation work for building 102 to 104 is finished by mat foundation. Lastly, 105 tong to 112 tong. The foundation for this part will be used with individual footing. Let's find out why. The strata formed on this site includes soft rock layer and the hard rock layer. As I mentioned earlier, soft rocks have high allowable bearing capacity, and hard rocks are 4,000 kN per meter square, which is even more higher than soft rocks. Belongs to hard rock. In addition, individual footing has advantage for use on the ground which has high bearing capacity. If you look more closely at the site, 105 tong to 107 tong and 110 tong and 111 tong are located in soft rock layers, and 108 tong to 109 tong and 112 tong are located in places where hard rock layers are not deep. Therefore, individual footing is selected for our site. By the way, if you look at the site, it seems that the foundation you can see is just 105 tong to 107 tong, even though the same individual footing is used. What will be the reason? The reason was the ground characteristics of 108 tong to 112 tong. As mentioned earlier, the site was mainly formed with hard rock layers, so blasting was required when digging, and the construction period became longer. Shall we watch the blasting scene together? If you look at the blasting process, you can see that a lot of gravel and sand are produced in the process. Also, gravel and sand produced by the explosion are compressed by about 5 centimeters when the load is applied above. Therefore, the site must use blasting for foundation work and must be dug in consideration of the gravel and sand produced by the blasting. For this reason, the site of 108 tong to 112 tong will appear later than the site of 105 tong to 107 tong. Although the process of the foundation began late, it was not a problem due to the similar construction period, because 108 tong to 112 tong has a lower height than 105 tong to 107 tong. Finally, the foundation work for the overall construction of Hanyang-Suja Riverpine apartment has been completed. 101 tong with deep ground that can withstand the load of the building use pile footing. The site of 102 tong to 104 tong with small load that the ground can withstand but the depth to the hard ground layer is not deep used mat foundation, and hardest ground location for building 105 tong to 112 tong used individual footing. Although it was in the same apartment site, the problems raised by different characteristics and ground properties were solved by using various types of foundation construction methods. Next time, we will talk about the problems that occurred during the construction process. Thank you for watching.